So our presentation is called Generating Smart Contract Code. How can you utilize it during the hackathon? So we will talk about our project, SmartBeaver, that won the ETH Warsaw Hackathon with on the Aleph Zero path. So this is the agenda of today's presentation. So I will do a short introduction. Then Isa will showcase you how you can utilize SmartBeaver to like generate your PSP compliant code. Then Maciek will then tell you a few words about the technicals of SmartBeaver. He will show you some code snippets that you can use during the hackathons, and then we will give you some advice from our hackathon experience. So this is our team. So SmartBeaver was developed by Isa, Maciek, and myself during ETH Warsaw, and currently it's maintained by the Blocky Devs company, which we all work for. Here you have a QR code. When you scan it, it will take you to SmartBeaver, basically. And these are the features of SmartBeaver. So SmartBeaver is a project that allows you to generate PSP compliant code in a very simple and easy way. And it's like the features are dynamic smart contract code generator. We provide code written in pure ink. It's very easy extensible, and it doesn't have any backend, so it's pretty much like a Web3 solution where we just have a front end and vast module. And we currently support fully PSP 22 standard with all the extensions, and we are working on supporting the PSP 34 standard as well. And everything is open sourced. So basically, now Isa will take over and will showcase you how can you utilize our solution, and Isa take over.
Okay, hi everyone. First, before I show you the application, I want to show you how it looked like during the hackathon. So let me show you the idea. So it all started with this idea, which I draw actually on the first hours of hackathon. And then obviously that was the final product of the hackathon. Looked a little bit different. And now that we've been working on it for a longer time, this is how it actually looks like. So what can you do here? As Piotr mentioned, you can make your own smart contracts, and you can choose from different standards, but for now PSP 22 is the one that you should use because it's finished. But I will show you in a second about PSP 34. Anyways, you can choose here the settings. You can configure it as you wish. So basically you just think about some name that you want for your token, and then you can add some symbol, and everything is actually already here. So you don't have to submit it. It's changing the code right away. Same goes to features. So if you want it to be mintable, burnable, it's all added here. And also, if you scroll down, you will be able to see it here. So the implementation has been added. And if you delete it, then it's just disappearing. What you can do here also, you can copy the whole code. It works for all the for all of it, but anyways, you can also, if you don't want to change the code yourself and you don't want to make the implementation by yourself, you can just choose it to be a single file, and then it just brings you to this file, and you have everything ready here, and you can also copy it directly from here, and that's all you would need. If you have any questions, you don't know how to implement it, you can click here. You will see our documentation. I guess you will be able then to understand it better. Also, here is the link to our GitHub, so you have all the repositories here. But Maciek will tell you more about it in a second. And if you have questions still, then you can also try to contact us here. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, so let me share just the screen. Okay, so hello everyone one more time, and so from here on, I will just focus on more technical aspects of this application. I just want to share you something like how we made this, what kind of tools we have used, what can you do it with it, and how you can extend it, and stuff like that. So maybe let me start with generally speaking, what kind of components we have inside. So everything is generally based on Next.js. So it's nothing exotic, just the latest version that's available. You have also added Tailwind and Highlight.js, so you could have like really nice, well-formatted code, and so we can have design that is quite easy to extend if you want in the future. And we have other part that is actually at least in my opinion, the most important one here is the WebAssembly module, which is responsible for all everything that is related to generating code, merging different extensions together. So what I have done, we just made some empty frontend with form, so the user can select what kind of features he's interested in, and then we just send it to the WebAssembly. We have a few really cool libraries that I think they might be useful for you as well. We load all the code chunks from the GitHub. So obviously everything is public. You can look at it or even extend it if you want. But like the general tech stack from our side was Rust for the WebAssembly module, and let's say smart contract side. Then we have WebAssembly, which is like the target for our code generation. We have Next and TypeScript, like quite obvious thing, but let me just go quickly through the generation flow. So we basically start with collecting the user requirements, and by user requirements I mean it is just the sidebar on our application, that is the form on our frontend. So we select what kind of standard you want, what kind of extensions you're interested in, and then we send it further to our WebAssembly module. Then we fetch that code from GitHub, and I will show it to you in a second. And then we just, after we download all the chunks, we try to merge it together to give you an output that is shown you seconds ago. So I will not go much into detail here because it is really not that important how we merge it together, how we solve the conflicts. But in case of you are interested, feel free to ask or use our code in whatever you want. It is obviously that part is also open source, so you can use it if you want. And yeah, so right now I would like you to show you some real example with our let's say quick start guide. So let me just Okay, so this QR code will guide you to this site, which is our main repository for everything that we have done. And for today's workshop, we prepared for you some simple example that is like out of the box, ready to use. We know it works, and hopefully, because of this, you won't be forced to waste time on some weird errors that are not really present to deal with. So that's why we have done some simple guide. Okay, so I will just show you how you can use it and what kind of steps are important here. So first off, let me clone it, and then we can proceed with what we got. So, okay, and now I will just open it in my editor, which you will see in a second. Just give me a second and find the correct folder for this. Okay, I think I did this. Oh, great. Okay, so we have decided to make a guide in this way because when we are trying to implement the SmartBeaver, I think the biggest problem was actually configuring the environment, setting up the Rust, all the libraries, and all those configuration things that you just want to avoid. So obviously, to start up, we need Rust, like quite obvious thing. But there's one more thing that we have unfortunately discovered, and it is not really well mentioned in the documentation, that you need, you might want to take a look at your Rust version. So to do this, you can type in Rust app show. And in my case, it is actually 174. But we had, I don't remember what kind of version, it was 170 or 169. I'm not sure right now, but we had some weird problems that we are not able to compile the template repository with PSP22. So in case of you end up with some weird errors that you are not able to Google, you have no idea what's going on, then in my opinion, it's worth the try to change the Rust version. That's one of the tips I can give you, that's for sure, because we have wasted way too much hours on that. So you can just learn on our mistakes. But okay, let's go further. So if you have Rust, then we need one more thing, or actually two things. We need to install cargo utils, which is just a utility package that will handle all the compilation, for example, compilation for us. So I have pasted here two links that will redirect you to the Ink website, and you can find there more details if you need to. But for our purpose, it is for now enough to just look at this file. So, so one of the most important things right now, we have code. Okay. Oh, yeah. I mean, sorry, I forgot to show you what this repository contains. So, we have a simple contract, which is implementation of PSP22, and it is really simple implementation. As you can see, there's not much here, but we have added also an OwnLabel and metadata extension, so it will be much easier for you to test it out and potentially use it even on like the testnet or whatever you want to do. So this is nothing special, like typical template contract. But anyway, let's try to compile it. So let's go back to our terminal. Maybe let's use this one. This has much bigger font. And I hope that you can see it well. So let's go back to README. You have ready to copy command. You can compile it. I'm using 174 Rust. It can take a while. And I'm also compiling it in release mode, so we can save some space. And oh, okay, so it has finished. Okay, great. So after it is done, you can see that actually we're interested in the file that is that ends with that contract. That's the most important one, at least in our case. So it can be found at target, inc, and here is it. That's the one. So we got compile contract, code compiles, which is good, great news. It's something, but we need to test it. How we can do this? So obviously we can use some public. Yes, but you need. It is a little bit more complicated to use them. So the easiest and quickest way is to just use the simple local node that can be run in your terminal on your computer. So to do this, you just copy one command, enter, and that's it. No setup needed, nothing. You should get output like this. And it is good to go, but one detail is obviously you have to keep it open. So don't do this, just leave it as is. And if you need terminal, remember to use the other one. And we have almost everything. One more thing is how to actually deploy it. So we have a really cool tool, which is called Contracts UI. And it is really nice because it allows you to use the local node, as well as other nodes, obviously. So let me click the link, and we have it. So pay attention only to upper left corner at the start, because you need to select the local node, which is really important for our workshop. And when you have a green dot here, we can proceed to upload contract code. You can leave it the account as is. Default one is fine. And right now I will just select the .contract file, which is, I hope this is the one. Yep. Yeah, so as you can see, this is the compiled file that we have compiled seconds ago. You can see what kind of compiler version it has, all the metadata. Okay, everything looks fine. Let's click next. Okay, great. Next, upload and instantiate, and it is fine. So it is ready to use right now. So to prove it to you that you can use this tool to test the entire contract, let's say we want to use our mint table extension to mint for ourselves, for the owner of the contract, some tokens. Let's say, I don't know, maybe 7, why not? Cool. Okay, select that. And to prove it to you, let's hit balance of 7. So magic. And actually that's it. So as you could see, it takes you like, I don't know, 5 minutes or even less if you're quite fast and to have Rust installed to get through this demo and start developing whatever you need. So maybe are there any questions related to this code, or?
I think Maciej will answer the questions after the presentation if there are any.
Sure. So let me go back right now to my presentation, and now I will transfer it to Piotr.
Thank you, Maciej. Could you stop sharing your screen? Great. So before I will jump back to our presentation, I would want to extend a bit on what Iza told you. And basically, one important thing, Iza told you about the single file button and what does it do? If you don't click it, then basically SmartBeaver generates all the extensions for you. So for example, burnable. And when you copy the code, then you can very easy change the behavior of this implementation. when you use the single file, SmartBeaver doesn't generate the code. It uses it's from a crate. So basically, it's the code is simpler, but it's not so easy to change the default behavior. And of course, you have also like the PSP34 implementation, but it's still in progress. So you can just copy that as a template. But going back to the presentation, we wanted to give you some advice from our hackathon experience. Together, we already attended 4 hackathons, and we basically were lucky enough to win 3 of them, and that's why we wanted to give you some advice. So first of all, the first advice is if it works, it's good enough. Hackathon is not a production code. You shouldn't spend a lot of time trying to develop the best quality of code. Just develop a solution that just do the job. It's good enough, really. And if something doesn't work, then you can always just mock it. When you present the hackathon, it's unlikely that it will be that somebody will see that you mocked like an important feature. So if you can't solve something in that amount of time, you can always just mock it, and it will be good enough. Don't also be scared to write code. Very often, programmers try to find a solution that is very that has not a large amount of lines of code, but you can really solve any issue with a large amount of code lines. So always you can just try to write a big solution, and it should work. The fourth advice is that, as Maciek mentioned, he created a cool snippet for you to speed up the configuration, but sometimes the configuration just takes 16 hours. And from my experience, I think on ETH on the Ethereum Hackathon in Amsterdam, I spent like the first 16 hours on my hackathon to configure and solve every Rust conflicts that I had, and it was also in the Aleph Zero track. So configuration just sometimes takes 16 hours. Also, don't waste your times on pixel perfect front ends. Like your hackathon solution doesn't need to be like mobile friendly, RWD. Like create a solution that looks good enough, and really don't lose the time to make everything pixel perfect. And the sixth rule is just don't give up. We have seen many teams that had great ideas and that were very good, and they just gave up because it was late. They were tired. They were like said that they don't go forward. Just try to use all the time and don't give up. So that's our advice, and thank you for your attention.